broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, Doctor Who fans! Welcome back to the Doctor Who After Show here on AfterBuzz TV, talking about Season 8, Episode 9, Flatline. I am Matt Lieberman. Joining me this week on the panel, we have Liz Rishmawry.
Hey, guys.
And Zach Wilson.
Welcome back.
Yes.
Wait.
Yeah, we're here. We're fine.
Can't hear myself.
He can't hear himself.
I can't hear myself.
But that's okay.
The dimensional factors are all
the dimensional factors are all off. I love this episode. Lots of, like, creepy monsters.
Awesome.
Really, really great. And that's the amazing thing. Before here, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about everything involved in this episode. But first, I just want to really quickly say hello to our live viewers on our website on AfterBuzzTV.com. And for those of you who watch us live, you can live tweet us here on the show. We're going to give our Twitter handles right now. Mine is at Matt Lieberman. That's MattLieberman. Yes, and Liz Rishmawry.
Hey, guys, you can tweet me some questions and comments at Lizzie Maui. That's at LizzzyMawy. Zach.
I'm that Zach Wilson. That's Zach with a CH.
All right, wonderful. So yeah, this episode, this show, since it got rebooted in 2005, at the very least I would say every season, there is a latter half Earth set episode that is usually disappointing and is kind of like meant to be a thriller episode, but just ultimately is just kind of quiet and a little boring. Like Fear Her is my big example. Like sometimes it's great, like Closing Time and The Lodger, I think would be two good examples.
Okay, like a more like the Doctor Who equivalent of a bottle episode, if you will, like a way to save money without big graphics and special.
Yeah.
Except I thought that's what this episode was going to be when I saw the preview last week. But then there are a lot of special effects in this episode, tons of them.
Well,
and
I guess
cool stop motion animation.
The difference is that this did not have big set pieces per se, except maybe the tunnel. So I guess it really depends on where your budget falls, where it lies, is that because visual effects are not as expensive as they once were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But either way, I don't think that this episode was at all written as a cost-saving measure.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a great episode. Instantly, I think my favorite of the season.
Really?
Or at least quality-wise, what I would put as the top. I'd have to go think back before I say definitely my favorite.
I just have to say how much, when we're talking about the production value and stuff, I'm just thinking, like, somebody got that one off of, like, Think Geek or something, like the little tiny TARDIS. Like, I'm pretty sure my friend has that exact model of the TARDIS.
Everyone wants a tiny TARDIS.
It's definitely buyable somewhere online. I know someone who has it.
Well, if you watch the BBC America feed, at the moment of the Addams Family little crawl,
oh my God.
There was at that exact moment a little bug, shop Doctor Who .bbc.com.
That's
or it was
hysterical.
like a bug for the shop. Mm-hmm. Buy your own little TARDIS.
Of course. Well, they're smart. They know that that's what everybody wants. But yeah, this was just like thoroughly gripping front to back. It continued to play with the Doctor companion dynamic and really advance these characters. I feel like the Doctor we have by the end of this episode is the Doctor we will be seeing from now on. He feels very self-actualized. He got his first real, even though it wasn't very long, his first real "I'm the Doctor" moment speech, kind of a dealie.
Has he said yet? I think this is the first time he's gone, I am the doctor, like loud and at somebody like.
Well, because like as soon as Matt Smith came in, right away, he's like, don't you know who I am? And like the whole thing with the giant eye, flashing on him, like, you know who I am, and it had all the cool visional things of all the other doctors, and he just walked through and he's like, I'm the doctor.
Yeah, like
and
I nearly cried when I first saw it.
So good.
Yeah.
I mean, this is effectively the same moment as, because for me, that was when Matt Smith, like, it was so quick.
Mm-hmm. My like bow tie and the outfit.
Yeah, my enjoyment of Matt Smith was like, because you got all that like fun stuff. Oh, look what we're building here. But it was when Matt Smith said, basically, run.
Yeah,
that was the moment that everybody's like, okay,
you're good.
This is a good guy. Like, I can move past David Tennant, at least for me. I know a lot of people had trouble with that.
Right.
But, like, I can love David Tennant and still love this guy.
Right, because it was just a cool, not to be misogynistic, but like cool, big swinging dick moment for the Doctor. If I can be so bold.
Good job.
I don't even know that they have them, Time Lords, but we'll move beyond that. That's not a discussion.
Yel Teagle and I have had a debate about
really
this
about
topic
Time
before.
Lord dicks. We're not getting into it. Nope, you could get so sucked into that.
Remember how the other time I was on the show, Matt, how I said, like, I think that there's been several occasions, at least when I've hosted with you, there's always at least one sexual thing that is put into this conversation.
I don't know that that's true. I don't know if that's always true.
TARDIS.
A few quick shout outs. Tanya Rocha at Painting True Mus. Painting True Mus. Doctor Who, hope this show never ends. We agree with you. Jacob Fonseca is watching us live. At Chloe D. Stewart actually has a question for us. After watching this episode, how would you feel if the Doctor's next regeneration was Clara? Which I don't know how that would work functionally, but she acquitted herself brilliantly in this episode, and I think a Clara Doctor isn't half bad.
Like if Clara was just a doctor, like the 14th Doctor.
I don't know how that would work.
Or if the Doctor just looked like Clara.
I think this is one of those like who would win, Batman or Jesus type arguments, where it's not grounded in any kind of fact, but it's just fun to think about.
But like just about this episode, I think that really what it comes down to, this episode is the most well written this season, because as a whole, I'm not left with anything to I have no negative things to say about the writing of this episode. Mm-hmm. I have some things that I'm like looking forward to that might like fold back into this and like, what is this going to mean, blah, blah, blah. But like writing wise, I think this was a just like flawlessly written script.
I agree. I mean, granted, it was, they took time and special care to set up so that every little bit worked and you could see the mechanics of it. But like, I don't mind it just because of the high quality of the episode. Like here, Clara, take this, put this in your ear, so that we can communicate.
That doesn't bother me. And it's like that's just, it's Doctor Who. It's getting into that gadget phase that like Tennant more had than Smith.
I would agree. We had these wonderful paternoster glasses that 12 was wearing in the episode as he was poring over the TARDIS trying to find more energy, I believe. I could be misremembering the moment. But let's just start from the beginning. They land on Earth after one of their many jaunts through time and space, and Clara is trying to get back exactly where and when she left, because she's been lying to Danny about her continued adventures with the Doctor.
Cheating on Danny.
And lying to the Doctor, her other not quite boyfriend. It's not sustainable. How do you guys feel about this situation?
I'm disappointed in Clara. I mean, like, I'm not as much surprised. I think we discussed it a lot last week. I maintain that I firmly believe Clara is cheating. It's not sexual. I'm not saying it's sexual, but I'm saying it's just as bad. Because basically, the definition of cheating is, do you feel the need to lie to your significant other about it? And this is very much lying.
Yeah.
I feel like it's hard because I just feel like I get what you're saying, because in a way it's kind of like cheating on him. It's not cheating per se in my eyes. I just feel like, no, you're lying. That's wrong. I mean, any sort of lying in any relationship is wrong. And she should be honest with Danny and the Doctor, but it's just one of those things where she's torn between these two people who she greatly cares and loves, and she doesn't want to hurt either of them. And you know, the only thing that they would have to be hurt by is the fact that she hid this one little fact from them. I mean, aside from the fact, it's like, yes, I'm still going on adventures with the Doctor.
But it's
yes,
not...
Doctor, Danny is okay with me doing this. I mean, it's a disappointment that you were lying this whole time because, you know, technically she is in danger when she travels with the Doctor.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not a little fact. It's a fact that puts her in constant danger, something that really matters a lot to Danny.
You know, but I'm saying that
not
to me,
even emotional
it's not cheating. It's just you're lying. It's wrong. It's still wrong, and you're gonna jeopardize your relationship.
To me, it is the equivalent, and it's it's because they made the comparison last week. This is like telling somebody, no, I gave up drinking. Like you're
leading a secret life.
Yeah, this person's an alcoholic, and they said, no, I gave it up. I'm not going to drink anymore because I want to be with you. And then you find out they're going out all the time and drinking.
Okay,
and they're just
when you say it like that,
I wouldn't call that cheating, though. I would just say you're leading a secret life. You're shutting me out. Maybe it's an emotional cheating, but
it's a unique circumstance I put into both categories.
Certainly. And you know, they land the TARDIS, and for whatever reason, the door is like a quarter of the size. And it's just a delightful sight gag to see them pop out of this little mini TARDIS.
Can you imagine how cram they were? I mean, unless they used some green screens.
I think they probably had like had a fake back. Like there wasn't a back of the TARDIS, and she just kind of like crouched behind it and then crawled through.
I like to think that they were just stuck in there for a few minutes till they wrote like, you know, like scene 1, and then, you know, they had to actually crawl out of this little box.
Or it's like extra long.
Yeah.
I'd bet that was. Well, it might have been in a studio on a soundstage with some like heavy green screen work.
I feel like you could do it a lot simpler. You just bolt it to the ground and you
shoot it from a certain angle.
Angled it specifically so that they could probably even just elongate it so that it's just a tunnel. You don't see the rest of it pointing out.
That's true. It's a static shot. More or less. So you're right. That'd be easy to pull off.
Look at all these guys with their degrees in film and filming things.
I'm on the same page as you. Why are we doing this?
Fancy.
So in this episode, you know, the Doctor gets back on the TARDIS and he's stuck in there because it shrinks even further to the point that it's a little baby TARDIS that literally the only thing that can pop out of it is maybe his hand, which is used to wonderful effect several times in this episode. Like, it's a little goofy to see him like use his hand to like crawl off the train track, but at the same time, super cool.
I couldn't stop laughing. I was giggling like an idiot. And I would like to just say Jenna Hatcher at Distant Dweller, she said, did you notice that the sign on the door behind Missy was the shape of a Cyberman eye and the window?
Really? Was the shape of a Cyberman eye with a little dash coming off the eye?
and the window. I have to go back and watch it.
So what are we saying? Missy's the new cyber controller? If so, why is she cyber controlling them from an iPad too?
I've heard that. Are we gonna get into Missy now? Because I have a lot.
Okay, we're jumping all over the place.
Right. Well, let's stay on. Let's
stay on topic.
Story.
Stay on topic.
They'll come.
Stay on target. So
that was like in a Dalek voice.
Well, stay on target is from Star Wars.
Oh.
So,
anyway.
So Clara has this opportunity armed with the sonic screwdriver and the psychic paper to basically be the Doctor for a day.
I love it.
To the Doctor's consternation, she poses as the Doctor, and she quickly discovers that there have been strange disappearances all over Bristol, or at least in this particular estate of Bristol. And Riggsy, the young graffiti artist,
pudding brain, was that what the Doctor called him?
He's a pudding brain.
He's fluorescent pudding brain.
Fluorescent pudding brain.
I love that.
Yes.
I need my new username for a video game or something.
Fluorescent pudding brain. I'm down. It's also a pretty solid post-punk band, or like pop punk band.
Yeah. Ska band.
Yeah. I loved seeing Clara have to take charge and be responsible for everything. It was kind of like, and I don't know if you guys watched this show, but it's sort of like the relationship in Batman Beyond, where Bruce Wayne is just old in the cave watching through his eyes,
and angry that he can't do anything.
Exactly. While this young person has to fend for themselves, and I really thought it brought something very special to their relationship, because the Doctor doesn't necessarily trust Clara a bunch. He wants to include her a lot, but he doesn't necessarily trust her, especially now that he knows that she's also lying to Danny. And I feel like he's known for some time. I feel like he was toying with her beforehand. I feel like he always knew.
I think he believed it up until this episode, because like it's really like when he
so
hears
ecstatic
her
the last episode.
But the Doctor is also just prone to not care about others' opinions. If he's getting what he wants, he doesn't care how it affects others necessarily. But as long as it's not like world destroying.
Yeah.
But I think in this episode, like as soon as she has that conversation, like he knows that something's up.
Right.
Whether I don't know if he necessarily connects all those dots that she's lying completely about it, but he knows that something's up.
Interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just want to say, like, I'm really mad though that like just somebody saying when she was always like, what would the Doctor do? And when she was doing those things, like, I really wanted somebody to say, like, the Doctor always lies. Like, somebody say it.
But
like,
she said it too.
I know, but she didn't actually say it like that.
I know, but well, she also said Rule 1 was something completely different.
Yeah.
Rule
What did
1
she
is the
say?
Doctor lies.
I wrote that one down because I liked that quote. Rule 1 of being the Doctor: use your enemy's power against them.
Yeah.
I think the Doctor has like a lot of Rule 1.
Yeah, but I would say that's not necessarily a vocal Rule 1. It's really more of like
was
I
everybody
watched this show, and like fans would be like, well, Rule 1, use their power against them. That's all TV
Rule
sci-fi.
1 of fighting monsters with the Doctor.
Rule 1 of everybody who associates around the Doctor is to know that the Doctor always lies.
Yes.
He doesn't actually say that I always lie.
But like I thought that was like really like beautifully efficient storytelling to have her basically. He's like, well, what should we do? What's the first thing you should do? She's like, lie. I should lie.
Give them hope.
Give them
they
hope.
Can run, and he's like, "That's good. They can run faster."
And it's the truth. It's what I love about this episode more than anything, and we'll get into the monsters, and we'll get into the TARDIS and all the great stuff.
And how cool that room was with the swinging chair, and how I want that room in my apartment.
And how deliberate it was. I was like, as soon as I saw the swinging chair, I'm like, oh yeah, they put that in there for a reason.
Yeah.
But what this episode does is it directly calls into action Clara's big blow up in Kill the Moon, where she was forced into the role of the Doctor and was deeply upset by it, deeply heartbroken and betrayed that the Doctor would put her in that position. But now that she is offered the position herself and she is forced to feel what it is actually like to be the Doctor, not only does she get it, she wants approval for being as good a Doctor as he.
And not to mention the fact, I mean, well, when you think about it, though, it's not like she had a choice in the matter at this point. He's stuck in the TARDIS. He can't get out. But she has fun while doing it. I mean, there's so many scenes, because in the episode before, she's always smiling sadly, which granted, that was because she thought it was going to be her last romp around with the Doctor. And now it's like, but she seems so like delighted. I mean, even when they were swinging on the chair and she's like trying to lie to Danny and she's like, and it's just like, but even with all the panic and like, you might die right now, she's having fun this entire episode. There's a thrill there that she understands now what the Doctor
I feel like maybe there's less of a thrill when she's responsible for more people's lives.
Yeah,
but I think that it's really what it comes down to is that, and I think the Doctor sees this, is that experience in the episode Kill the Moon changed her. It changed her way of looking at it. Even if she's not aware of it. This is a subconscious thing. But when he talks about goodness had nothing to do with it. In Kill the Moon, she was trying to do the right thing, make the right decision for the right reasons. Here, she's just like attacking the monster. Like we got to solve the day. She's acting like the Doctor, not thinking, just being the Doctor.
Yeah.
Just doing what needs. And I think that is a major transition. That I think that was why the Doctor had that look when during that speech, like not disappointment, but almost like regret.
Yeah.
Like I regret that I am turning you into someone who can be me. That's not what I want.
Yeah.
The whole reason why he has a companion is so that he can see the universe through the eyes of someone who still has hope and joy in their heart. I mean, we effectively got that information in an episode with 11.
Yeah. It just, for me, it parallels just, and partially it's just because on classics, we've been doing William Hartnell, but so much of this Doctor has, I felt been grounded in the original Hartnell Doctor and his relationship to his granddaughter Susan. It's very similar and very much like that. Hartnell started out when the Doctor first started traveling. He was not necessarily a good person per se. He was doing things randomly. He didn't care about other people, but his companions and his experience turned him into a good, caring person as he traveled and as experience affected him, and it changed him into and as all those decisions overwhelmed him, being a good person, being not a good person, it made him the Doctor we know today. And he's seeing that transition from Clara. She's losing herself,
her essential humanity.
Yeah, she's losing who she is and becoming closer to him, and that's not a good thing.
What do you think, Liz?
I mean, I feel like Clara is such an interesting and unique character, and we've gone through this before about how, you know, we weren't pleased with the writing for the character, but the actress did, you know,
Jenna
Louise Coleman did as best as she could with it, you know. But we have this really interesting character that basically like did things that no other companion could do. She was in every single cycle of the Doctor being there, you know, the impossible girl, and now it's like we're seeing. I feel like we're getting more personal into behind like who she is as a person, like just being on Earth and stuff, because a lot of this season has been like Earth episodes with her, and
I wouldn't say a lot of this
not
season.
a lot, but I mean just like I feel like compared to all the others, we see her more like as a school teacher, going on dates, her personal life. Like I just think that.
Well, my struggle with Clara, and I've been very vocal about this season, is that I felt very much, especially with her relationship with Danny, like the whole thing with Danny and Clara, is that it's felt shoehorned in.
Yeah.
Like we need a human story for Clara because Jenna Coleman is a fantastic actress and we want to keep her around, but we didn't have it feels like they didn't have a solid plan in place for after the Impossible Girl. That's what it is that I'm struggling with.
Like I think that, you know, it's not good for her to become like the Doctor, but at the same time, it's like, I guess he doesn't want to pull her away from like knowing what she knows. Like he needs to know that she'll be okay without him, because at one point it's going to happen. Like she's not going to be his permanent companion until she dies.
Here's what I think, and I appreciate the points you guys are making, namely about how she had this great importance last year, and now on some level, if you look at it critically, they're trying to find things for her to do, perhaps even to keep the actress on the show because she is so good and the material that she had last year was less than perfect.
The episodes this season have been fantastic.
Yes, have been fantastic, and I think fantastic for her. And the reason why I like the way that they're developing her this season, and the reason why I like Danny, is because last year she wasn't a character, she was an idea. She was a function of the plot more than she was a person. And I feel like the first rule of business with Clara this season was back to basics. Who is this person? What drives her? What's important to her? And what does she want from life?
Yeah.
And I think that ultimately she does want a real partner. And she thought she had that in the Doctor, but she doesn't. So she finds it somewhere else. But now she's not quite ready to give up how important she is when she is on that TARDIS and the things that she is able to do that she's not able to do in a normal life.
When the TARDIS is in her purse.
Right. But like she wants to have it all. We had that montage at the beginning of one of the episodes where it's like, I can't do it. I can't juggle it all. She is the woman who wants to have it all. And ultimately her addiction to the TARDIS will rob her of the humanity that would bring her the happy ending that she sought to have at the beginning of this season. Okay. That's what I think we're doing here, is we are watching, we're honestly watching a tragedy unfold.
Very, very well put. I love that take on it. And I agree 100%. So I guess my issue is not as much with Clara as it is with Danny, because I want him to be more active.
Well, I mean, without spoilers, maybe we'll be getting him on that TARDIS.
And I'm hoping
season.
that we will. That's what I've been waiting for this whole season. For Clara's, that's what I think Clara's story is missing. It's what we got with the Pawns. It's because it's the Doctor and his companions, their dynamic. Without seeing the Doctor and Danny's interaction more than we got in that one episode,
But here's the difference. The difference is between our two Doctors. 11 is the kind of Doctor who would pull Rory onto the TARDIS to resolve a conflict. 12 would not. And I feel like we have now, through her lying to him and being put in constant danger, we have now forced her into a corner where if she is going to be able to continue going on these adventures, he will want to see one for himself, to know that she is okay, because the last memory he has of her in this episode is her screaming and the phone cutting out.
Yeah. And then when he tries to call, she sends the "in a meeting."
I'm in a meeting. You don't go to meetings. Who are you? You're not at school.
I work with you. I know there's no meeting.
I know all the meetings, Clara. Don't you dare say you're in a meeting, because you're not.
But that's what I mean. And like, maybe we'll get it next week and I'll be satiated and I'll be able to drop this point. I just, it's something that's been off about it. Like, there are pieces that are working fantastically. And I love Peter Capaldi's doctor.
I love him.
Capaldi.
I can't keep track of it.
He's not Italian.
But anyway, it's just, there's an element missing, and I think that it's having Danny on the TARDIS.
Okay. All right. Well,
it's changing topic a little bit.
can I do iTunes before you do that?
Okay.
All right.
I guess.
It's all right.
You're allowed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Folks, I say it every week, and only because it's the truth. The best way that you can support all of us here at AfterBuzz TV is to go to iTunes and rate and review the shows that you listen to or that you watch on YouTube. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way for us to be able to get our sponsors and our guests that keep our shows flowing and wonderful. It's the only way that we keep our lights on and our doors open. It's our lifeblood. Why? Because the better our reviews are and the more copious our reviews are, the easier it is for new listeners to find our programming. We here at AfterBuzz, we put out the widest array of after show programming on any platform anywhere in the world. It's a serious, serious undertaking. We put out over 80 hours of free content a week.
And Matt's on like 70 hours of that.
I wish I was on 70 hours. Right now I'm like on 6 hours. But still, it really takes all of us here to make that happen, and a lot of people put in a lot of hours to make that happen for you, to make sure you get your podcasts on time. So if you could just go to iTunes, rate and review the show, it would really mean a lot to us. And you also get a great shout out here on the show. Now, right now, we're sitting at 155 ratings on iTunes, which some people would say is impressive, but they are not I. For I am Lieberman, the commentary voice of choice here at the Doctor Who After Show. We actually do, it's a nickname that predates you guys on this show.
No.
Okay.
It was the Jenna Bush era.
I'll let it slide for now.
All right, thank you. But the best way that we don't even just do this show. We also do Doctor Who Classics, led by Zach Wilson.
Lots of stuff.
We do two Doctor Who shows on this channel. So I think that by the end of this season, we have 4 episodes left. I see no reason why we can't cross 200. I see no reason why we can't do 200 ratings and a whole mess of reviews. And I'm sorting through them all right now and trying to get to...
And while you do that, guys, Classics is going to be sticking around after the season wraps up. We're just going to keep this going. We got 50 years worth of stuff to talk about. There's lots to do. If you want,
you can't get rid of it.
If you want to tune in this week, I'm really excited for this week's. On Wednesday, we're going to be talking about the 10th planet, which is 2 enormous firsts in the Doctor Who universe. The first appearance of the Cybermen.
What?
And then the first regeneration. The big first regeneration, which that episode is almost entirely, the 4th part leading up to it is almost entirely lost, but has been
restored through animation.
Yeah, completely reanimated. What? It's really cool.
It's
looking.
really, really cool.
It looks awesome. The regeneration footage is still there if you want to watch it, but check it out. It's available on DVD. Unfortunately, not available on streaming, but it is fantastic if you can get a hold of it. And then we're going to be talking about it with me, Katie Collin, Megan Salinas, and Tari Miller.
Wonderful. So I'm going to read some reviews for you. This one, 5 stars from Panda Hoovian, the best Doctor Who After Show podcast. This one, I love the chemistry between you guys. Love how these podcasts are helpful after some confusing episodes and how we can compare the theories we all have. Great job. Greetings and much love from Puerto Rico. Best of 2 worlds, 5 stars from Battle Girl Deb. Loving both AfterBuzz show for DW and classic Doctor Who. Both shows are just what this Whovian needs when I started getting on other people's nerves with my love for this show. Yeah. Doctor Who podcast, 5 stars from a whole bunch of letters that don't make any sense. It's just like lots of V's and G's. I just started listening to this podcast. I can't find any better podcast than this one. Whovians unite. In the words of 9, fantastic.
Yay!
5 stars from Justina Marcel. The content has been great. I look forward to your many great discussions. I really like this show by Flying Car, 5 stars. I really like Doctor Who. It is clear AfterBuzz does too. They cover the new and the old. They're as good as gold. So the day I will not rue. That's a nice poem from Flying Car.
Thank you, Flying Car.
Listen from In a Days. 5 stars. Recently discovered the show on YouTube, but wanted to stop by here and show my support. Thank you. I appreciate anyone who's on YouTube who's willing to come to iTunes and review the show. It's really, really helpful for us. It's how our bosses track our progress. Doctor Who newbie, 5 stars. Alice Rinaldi. I'm pretty new to Doctor Who fandom. Started watching for Peter Capaldi. And AfterBuzz is a great resource for me. I love listening to the discussions and theories. Another great AfterBuzz podcast from the Cape Man, 5 stars. Thank you for a great podcast. Great podcast from Triple B07, 5 stars. It's great to have a Doctor Who podcast. I can't find any friends to discuss this with. I'm glad that Matt is the host as well as enthusiasm really shines through. That's very kind of you. I'm really happy that we have all the people that we have here on the show. I think that everybody brings something amazing to it, and I'm really, really happy that we get to do it. 5 stars from Dynamite Jones. 5 stars from Surf Coyote. Sheer pleasure listening to the thoughtful, fun, sometimes wacky comments, opinions, and speculation. Just a pure treat. All right, folks. Thank you so much. I wanted to get them all. I wanted to get them all fast. I don't want to waste anybody's time. We only have limited time. Okay. So, the monsters in this episode were so cool.
So, were they like little flat worms?
They were kind of
at the very beginning. Was I the only one who had it was almost like acid flashbacks or more flashbacks to Doctor Who the movie?
Oh my God! Right, with the master slithering as the little slug form.
I was like, there's no way that they're gonna they're gonna even pretend that just didn't happen. But it looked like it.
A little.
Well, there was a scene where I think it was just before. I think it's when they started forming, when they were in that room with the swinging chair. And then when they started developing, it was like, they look like worms, coming out, like little wormy things.
Kind of like a flowy, almost like, it looked like oil paints or something.
Yeah, it was just weird. And you know what? The cool thing about this episode, though, can I just say how, and I'm surprised almost because this doctor almost seems so negative most of the time when he was like, no, they might not even know that they're hurting you.
Yeah.
And in the end, they were, and he's like, no, you're awful and horrible, and, you're monsters. But it's it's so interesting to me how this doctor, who has seemed to be more of a less hopeful faith in humanity.
More of a pessimist.
Yeah, more of a pessimist in the fact that was his first say in it. Did either of you guys think that was kind of interesting? That
I liked it a lot.
Maybe they're good, they don't mean to.
I loved it. I thought it spoke very well. I didn't think of it as pessimistic or optimistic per se, but just more of a realist approach to it, because as he says, life takes on many forms, and as soon as he determines that they are something sort of cross-dimensional, different dimensional being, so vastly different, he doesn't know it. It's new, that's the most fascinating thing. And it'd be much better if they weren't hostile, because then he could learn from them.
Yeah.
And he's also, we know, dealing with questions of other universes, pocket universes,
bubble universes,
stuck on the side that we haven't really talked about in a while, but it's still there. So I think he would love if these were not hostile creatures. And he doesn't even say, you are monsters. He's like, I tried. Let it be known. I tried to communicate. I tried to talk to you.
You knew what we were saying the whole time.
You have taken on the role of the monster, and so I have to act I have to play the role of the monster stopper or whatever. Whatever fantastic speech he gave.
Yeah.
Which I thought, just if I could harp on that for a second, was such a awesome speech, because. Cool. Doctor Who could get trapped, and over the years, there's so many monster stories that follow the formula of monster shows up, monster wreaks havoc, doctor comes in, doctor saves the day, monster goes away, the monster's bad, it goes away.
But he named them too. That was so cool too. I named it, was it the boneless?
The boneless, but not just that, but the idea that he's aware of it, and he just wants to move forward. He just wants to be better.
Yeah.
He wants it to be good.
Yeah.
But he knows what he has to do.
He knows what he has to do.
Okay, real quick though, can I just say the moment, if I can skip ahead a little bit, when he's in the TARDIS and it's on that weird standby mode and he's losing air.
Siege mode.
Okay, siege mode. When there's no life force in it, and you think, what would happen if he died? Wouldn't he just keep regenerating and then dying again because he can't breathe?
Kind of, although I would have to imagine the energy of a regeneration could be funneled into the TARDIS and have it unlock. But I thought that Clara's solution was so ingenious.
Brilliant.
So ingenious. I really loved the way that this episode wrapped up. I thought that the animation of these boneless was so cool.
So creepy too, with the way they moved.
The way they took apart the couch. It was just so very unexpected and very original, unlike anything we've seen before on the show. And with a show like this, innovation is always welcome.
And the nervous system on the wall that looked like artwork, and I had to really tilt my head. I'm like, oh snap! Like it was so cool. Like like the artists on the show, like just 5 stars. Like brilliant on everything, that the work and the art and everything that had to go into this episode.
Yes. Unfortunately, we're running tragically low on time, so there's parts of the discussion that we're not going to be able to get to. We have to talk about Missy.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
And her iPad too, which was and like I'm not just kidding. That was an iPad.
No, when I watched, because I watched it twice today, and like I looked down the second time. Yep, there's the little square on the button. It's definitely an iPad.
Yeah, and she says to Clara, "Oh, Clara, my Clara, I chose well."
What?
So she made the decision to put them together.
Effectively, I feel like that's a confirmation that it was Missy in the shop.
Is she
Missy is the woman from the shop. That's like no questions are
which
left
shop are we
about
talking
that.
about now?
The woman who called
in the
Clara.
Bells of St. John, the woman who Clara called, who gave her the number of the TARDIS that put them together. Yes.
It's basically that it's Missy.
Yeah.
But why and who is Missy is still up in the air.
Well,
And everything's hers. It's like my doctor, my Clara, my, you know.
Well, there's this whole Cyberman dealie that everyone's saying that she's somehow
there's
connected to the
With
Cybermen.
the window and something.
Yeah, somehow connected to the Cybermen, that she's maybe the new cyber controller or something like that, or she's partnered with them for some kind of ingenious reason. But everything that she's been trying to pull so far has been about it has been about the union of machine and human. And what Clara's been going through has been about the removal of her natural human instincts to become more like a Time Lord, to become potentially maybe more like a machine, more of a pragmatist, more of a realist. Maybe, I know it's not supposed to be the Ronnie, but something tells me this is some kind of experiment.
Look, I know that Stephen Moffat has said it's not the Ronnie, but do
everybody
you
shut up.
trust him? Do you trust Stephen Moffat?
I don't trust him.
That's only fuels my theories about it more.
I know, but it could be.
But the fact that she's saying my Clara, my doctor, I think is a big thing. I'm not going to harp on like any wild theories about like who she might be in terms of like old characters.
Clara's mother. I don't know.
We met Clara's.
I know, I'm kidding.
Either way, but she feels like she has to take some ownership of it. So the cyber controller thing doesn't mesh to me.
Okay.
But it does feel like this is going to be somebody who is maybe not from our version of the Doctor's past, but revealed that is somehow from the Doctor's past.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Do we think, can we agree? I mean, well, no, because if we're talking about the cyber controllers, like, do we agree that she's somehow linked or connected to Gallifrey?
Well, I'm just going to throw this out there and fully
I thought you were gonna
ready
sneeze
for
your
it to be
face.
just so wrong. What if she's a regeneration of Romana? Romana, the Time Lady, was one of the Fourth Doctor's companions. She was the first and only Time Lady introduced in the entire canon until River arrived.
Ooh.
At least I think so. I may be overstepping with that. But
Wasn't the Ronnie a lady? I thought.
oh yeah, the Ronnie's also a lady, so I'm an idiot.
Way to go.
But the one good one. And what if, for whatever reason, because she traveled with him for a long time, she could easily feel like she has ownership over him, maybe even to call him a boyfriend.
But
I don't know why she would be doing all this. I know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's why I'm saying it's definitely wrong, but it occurred to me.
It does. I do feel like Missy has to be a Time Lord in some way,
something
shape, or
related
form.
to Gallifrey, because it's like, why? They haven't really even mentioned it, the series so far. Like what all the things are that he's looking for, the chalkboard.
I think it's just because the whole idea behind it was, they said when the 50th came out that this isn't about the previous 50 years, it's about setting up the next 50 years.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're purposefully not talking about Gallifrey because they don't intend to move on Gallifrey for a while.
Yeah.
It's conspicuously absent.
Okay, fair enough. Unfortunately, we do have to wrap up, so it is time for predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV
That light is so pretty.
predictions.
Yeah, that is pretty. So we saw the scenes from next week. If you're not interested in those, it's probably time to hang up.
Peace out.
Stop it. But Danny does join the adventure next week.
Yeah,
with a whole class of kids.
So that
In Danny's words, what up, bitch?
Yeah.
When he meant
Yeah,
the
that was,
boat. That was so funny.
to me, it doesn't look like that's on purpose.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, I know what you're doing. Like, he gets into I'm thinking he's gonna get into a fight with Clara. They're on a class field trip that like they can't avoid each other, and the doctor shows up. Maybe he's trying to settle it.
Yeah, I
Deal with
feel
it.
like he would be trying to give them an opportunity to mend fences.
Yeah, not to mention the fact, especially after all we've said on this episode, where especially you, Zach, saying that the doctor's concerned because he doesn't want Clara to, become disattached and disassociated with who she is in her life. So, obviously that would be good to have Danny back in.
100%.
I think the doctor's worried about Clara, worried about what is happening to her, and he's going to try to take steps to fix it.
Did anybody have like a weird vibe of like when I first saw like a wolf and then I saw a little girl running in a red jacket? I'm thinking, is this some weird twist of Little Red Riding Hood?
I don't think that's an accident. I think there's going to be some kind of
Obviously.
fairy tale.
Something.
I don't remember what the title
It's
of
London in a
next week is.
forest.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I feel like they enter some sort of alternate reality version of London that takes place in a fairy tale story.
Oh God, it's going to be like them crossing into the dimension of Once Upon a Time.
Oh God, let's hope not. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching this edition of the Doctor Who After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. We are here every Monday, and Doctor Who Classics is here every Wednesday, also at 7 p.m.
Wednesdays at 7 p.m.
Pacific Standard if you want to watch that live. Otherwise, it'll be on YouTube and iTunes a few hours later. Liz Rishmawry, where can people find you once again?
Hey guys, Liz Rishmawry here. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lizzie Maui. That's LIZZYMAWY. Also check me out on panels such as Sword Art Online and The Legend of Korra. I will be taking a small hiatus because I'll be in Japan, but you'll see me in another weekend or so.
Okay, and Zach Wilson.
And you guys follow me on Twitter at @ZachWilson, and tons of shows here at AfterBuzz, but I'm most excited about Grimm coming back this Sunday. Tune in.
Cool. And you can find me on Twitter at Matt Lieberman. That's MATTLIEBERMAN. You can also find me here or on YouTube on SourceFed and SourceFed Nerd. We do a superhero roundup show there every Friday. We're covering Arrow, The Flash, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Gotham, as well as any comic news that's going on. Also Constantine when it starts up. So if those are your bag, you can check that out over at SourceFed Nerd. I want to thank you all so much for joining us. We'll be back next week. Good night.
Peace.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.